Good morning, everyone. Mwasuze mutya nno banyabo ne bassebo. Welcome to the Hope Amidst Mental Illness channel, a channel where I discuss mental health tips, where I share mental health tips. I name Benediction Mental Health Tips. In regard to different areas of our lives, I share in regard to youth, in regard to marriage, in regard to different fields. And today, this is the day the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. You are all welcome to the Benediction Mental Health Tips. My name is Veronica Mirembe Benedictio. Benedictio means blessing, Nabikolo. I'm very proud to be a mental health advocate after having a 24-year experience with bipolar disorder. I'm here to help people, and I help people through practical experience that has helped me. So let us dive into today's mental health tip. I want to share a mental health tip in regard to like young people and mental health and how we can help each other when we look at what is ongoing, the joblessness, the unemployment, and then you find people break down mentally. People are living in lives where they're in self-pity, they're in depression because they don't have a job, because all we think about is everyone has to have a job. First of all, let me make it clear. The Bible says, when you read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 12, God says, I'll bless the works of your hands. He didn't say, I'll bless the work of your job. So if you don't have a job, try thinking and look for work. Because at the end of the day, not all of us have been called to 8 to 5 jobs. It is good to live a life of purpose. You may not have a job as a young person. Instead of being frustrated, you're going through depression, then you're following people on social media, what is going on in this one's life, and for you, they are stagnant. You're seeing your friends are getting engaged, they're getting married, they're getting jobs, and then for you, it's all about stagnancy. I'm here to give practical tips to young people about what helped me and to see if they can help young people out there. First of all, our education systems have trained us to be job seekers instead of job creators. And this is because we are not practical people from a young age. It is why you ask yourself, how many people have gotten degrees? How many people have masters, but they are seated at home? It is because we are not practical people. We do not want to think, and it is the reason why at times we go through depression, we go through stress, we are not working. First of all, let me first share this. One, doing housework at home because you don't have a job does not make you a loser in life. Even as you do that housework, remind God you said you will bless the works of my hands because you are working. So instead of being at home and you're depressed, you're stressed, I'm doing all the work, do housework at home. That is also work. And then to get something out there that makes you practical. You know, we live in the world where everyone is like, it is a world of connection. You're home seated waiting for your uncle in Bank of Uganda to connect you, and you don't know when this has come. And that only is putting you down and holding your blessing. The Bible says in Proverbs 10:22, the blessing of God makes rich and adds no sorrow. We are all born with a blessing. So stop believing in connections, because connections are demonic. No, let me explain this. Connections are demonic. Whenever you sit down with your papers and you're waiting for connections, they won't come because you're not out there doing something. Let me share certain practical tips out of my own life experience. I am 36 years, but I have a CV that reads I have done 10 international contracts. And how have I been getting these? Right, some of them have been language contracts, that have been short-term contracts, but I have not gotten any contract because of connections. One, you have your phone. Sit down and Google organizations you would wish to work with. Some of those organizations have their contact details on them. Make a phone call, talk about yourself. My name is Veronica. I love languages. I do interpretation work. And with time, if there is an opening in that organization, they will call you. I can testify how I got jobs in international school. No one got me a job there. But I would send my CVs to their websites, and some of them call me after 5 years to go and work. It is why I'm telling young people, instead of utilize your data, get your phone, Google organizations. There are some organizations that put their numbers and you can call them. Talk about yourself, present yourself, and eventually they'll tell you to send your CV. And if there is an opening, they'll call you for an opportunity. But you realize most young people are out there sitting, they keep on their phones the whole day. They are frustrated. We are blaming the African governments for not giving us jobs. But at times we are bringing this to ourselves. No, let me speak to a person. God says, I'll bless the work of your hands. You can tell a young person, go out there, that money you use for data every day, go buy a slasher. Go knock at people's gates and ask them to slash their compounds. As you do that, they're going to ask you, what course did you do? And you will go for your white collar job. You tell young girls, be practical, go out, because whenever you're practical, make your cassava, take it to the shop. You'll have money on yourself. Make your mandas. You may be interested in baking. You may not have a job, but you may have a skill. You may know how to do hairdressing. You may know how to drive. You may know how to clean. It is just like design a business card where you say, I can clean people's houses. You know, at the end of the day, there is something practical you're out there doing. You may be a young person and you love washing clothes. Go to people's homes and wash clothes. But let me speak to someone. But what is your degree putting to your table when you're not doing anything at home? As you wash your clothes, it is how you're going to get money. Buy washing machines, begin a dry cleaner, and it's how someone will see you and ask you for what course you did, because you're out there doing something. But whenever we keep at home, we only get emotionally drained, we get into stress, we get into depression, you know. Even if you're keeping at home, be practical, do housework. But you may find at times you're keeping at home, they're washing your clothes, they're doing everything for you. And this I'm doing as a mental health tip, because I usually speak to the mentally challenged. Someone is in self-pity. Nze ndi kuddagala, oli kuddagala, but even if you're on the medication, you will wake up, even if it's making you sleepy. You will wake up and have something practical to do. Let me speak to young people. Let us be practical people. Because at the end of the day, we break down mentally, emotionally. We are stressed because we are not being practical. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. Not everyone has been called for an 8 to 5 job, but live a life of purpose. Give out, and that is when they will see you practical and they'll be able to give you an opportunity. I tell people, for example, I used to be in my community. I would teach French, Chinese, English to young children at Africa Coast. And when I went to these international schools, the experience I used in these children at home is what I used as the experience when they asked me for my job interviews. Because I was out there doing something. And I had what to explain in the job experience because I had worked children. I was giving a free service and I had what to explain in the job interview. Whenever you're not practical, it keeps you in stress and depression. Whenever you're not practical, it brings that stress. The Bible, it says, like there's a saying, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Whenever you're doing nothing, it's when you're going to begin thinking, I have mental illness, I have bipolar, I have schizophrenia, no one is helping me. And how are people going to help you when you have not come out to do something and they can know how to help you? It is why I tell you people, learn to come out. You know, at times we are full of fear. People fear starting or going solo because they are full of fear. They prefer doing 8 to 5 jobs. Right, some people have been called to 8 to 5 jobs, but some people have been called to do their own things. And you may do things in your own time, but you have money on yourself. Let me speak to people. The Bible says in Proverbs 10:22, the blessing of God makes rich and adds no sorrow. Everyone is born with a blessing. So stop believing in connections. Because at times probably you're not sending your papers or CVs to organizations because you're waiting for a connection. And this alone is keeping you in stress, in depression, because we live in a world where it's all about mfuniramuwa. You meet a person, the first thing you think is a connection. And these things have held most of us in bondage. Thank you very much for listening to me. Share this video with a young person. Google organizations, their contacts, talk to talk to talk to people who, like at those contacts, share, talk about yourself, and they will tell you to forward your CV. With time, if there is an opening, they can call you for an opportunity. Stop staying at home and you're keeping depressed, you're following people, you have nothing you're doing, and it's all about social media. Be practical on social, use it for something. I tell people interested in languages, use social media to learn a language. There are things on social media that are free. Make yourself busy, read books, because you can tell someone to read a book and they're like, I can't. We have it in Africa, we don't read, but they can watch a movie for 5 hours because they are watching a movie. But you tell them to read a book, I don't have time, it's boring. So how are you going to get information to enlighten yourself when you're just sleeping or watching movies, and then you wake up, I don't have a job, and then you're frustrated? Okay, you guys, thank you very much for listening to me. I pray this mental health tip speaks to someone so that to get out of that stress and depression. Let us ponder about it. Let us think about it. Thank you very much. And we have already learned how to say bye-bye in 5 languages. In Swahili, we say kwaheri. In French, we say au revoir. In Chinese, we say zaijian. In German, we say tschüss. In Luganda, we say weraba. Mweraba. Thank you for listening to me. Danke. Danke means thank you in German. Dankeschön. Thank you very much in German. God bless you and benedictions.